The lawyer slides the papers across the mahogany table. Dissolution of marriage. I stare at Ralph's signature. Neat, careful, so characteristically him, and I can't breathe. The conference room smells like expensive furniture polish and the death of everything I've ever loved. Mrs. Chen, do you need a moment? I shake my head. I don't deserve a moment. I don't deserve the courtesy of this mahogany table or the sympathetic look in this lawyer's eyes. What I deserve is sitting in a manila folder with Ralph's signature on page 7, right above where mine is supposed to go, all because of a blog post. 1,200 words that got 50,000 shares. 50,000 people laughing at my husband's expense. 50,000 people who don't know that the man I eviscerated for entertainment used to leave sticky notes in my lunch bag. You're going to do great today. I believe in you. Every single day for 6 years. The lawyer clears her throat. Whenever you're ready, I pick up the pen. It's heavy. Everything is heavy now, but I should start at the beginning. You need to understand who Ralph was, who he is, before I tell you how I destroyed him. Ralph was the kind of man who noticed things. Small things. The kind most people miss. He noticed when I changed my coffee order from 2 sugars to 1 because I'd read some article about health. Started bringing me coffee with 1 sugar without me saying a word. He noticed when I was stressed, before I even realized it myself, and would run me a bath with those lavender salts I mentioned liking once, 3 months prior. We met at a bookstore. I was reaching for a marketing book on the top shelf, and he appeared beside me, 6 feet tall, brown eyes, this shy smile, and grabbed it for me. Good choice, he said. That one changed how I think about storytelling. We talked for 2 hours in the cafe section. He was a content strategist at a mid-sized tech company, nothing flashy. He described himself as comfortably boring, which made me laugh. He had this way of being self-deprecating without being pathetic about it, confident enough, humble enough, real. Our first date was dinner at this Italian place in the Pearl District. He'd made reservations 3 weeks in advance because he'd heard me mention I wanted to try it. 3 weeks. We weren't even officially dating yet, and he was planning around my casual comments. He asked about my work, really asked follow-up questions and everything about my freelance writing career, my dreams of having my own platform. You should start a blog, he said. You've got a voice people would want to read. I did start a blog, because of him. He designed the header for me, even though design wasn't his job. Shared every post I wrote. My first consistent reader. The relationship was easy, comfortable. He'd cook dinner on Tuesdays, his 1 day working from home, and I'd come back to the apartment smelling like garlic and tomatoes and him humming along to whatever podcast he was listening to. He'd ask about my day. Actually listen. Remember details I'd forgotten I'd mentioned. His family loved me immediately. His mom, Patricia, hugged me like I was already family at our first Thanksgiving. Ralph talks about you constantly, she whispered. Thank you for making my boy so happy. I was happy too. Genuinely, he wasn't the most exciting man I'd ever dated. He didn't have the biggest paycheck or the flashiest job, but he was solid, steady, kind in ways I didn't know I needed. He proposed on our balcony, no grand gesture. Just us, sunset, a ring he'd saved 6 months for. I want to build a life with you, he said. Simple, perfect, him. I said yes before he finished the sentence. The cracks started small. Hairline fractures, I told myself, didn't matter. My blog was growing, slowly at first, then faster. Lifestyle content, relationship humor, the occasional vulnerable essay. I'd hit 1,000 followers, then 5,000, then 10. Brands started reaching out. Small stuff, affiliate links, sponsored posts for kitchen gadgets and skincare. Ralph was proud. He'd share everything, comment on every post. That's my girl, he'd text with a link to my latest article. But I noticed something. When I'd show him posts before publishing, the funny ones about our relationship, the ones where I gently poked fun at couple dynamics, he'd get quiet. What do you think? I'd ask. It's good, he'd say. Really funny. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. I told myself he was being sensitive, that everyone jokes about their partners online, that I wasn't saying anything mean, just relatable, domestic comedy, the kind of content that performs well. There was the post about how he organized the spice cabinet alphabetically. My husband thinks cumin and coriander need to be in alphabetical order. Sir, this is a kitchen, not a library. 3,000 shares, comments full of laughing emojis, and my husband too. He'd smiled when he read it. Glad people find my quirks entertaining. Something in his voice made me pause. You okay? Yeah. He kissed my forehead. It's funny, I'm happy you're doing well. Then there was the post about his gaming habits. My husband spent 45 minutes explaining the plot of a video game to me. 45 minutes. There were charts. I'm married to a man who makes PowerPoint presentations for fun. 8,000 shares. He'd gone quiet that evening, sat on the couch with his laptop, not saying much. What's wrong? Nothing. He closed the laptop. Do you think I'm boring? What? No, baby, it's just a joke. I love that you're passionate about stuff. Right, he nodded. Just a joke. But he stopped telling me about his games after that. Stopped sharing the things he cared about that I'd made clear were material for content. I should have noticed. I should have stopped. I didn't. My friend's circle was changing too. As my platform grew, I'd connected with other lifestyle bloggers, women like me, building careers from documenting their lives. We had a group chat, 6 of us, called Boss Babes. We'd share post ideas, celebration wins, commiserate over algorithm changes. My closest friend in the group was Ruth. 32, divorced, running a successful travel and lifestyle blog. She had this energy, confident, unapologetic, always pushing me to be bolder with my content. You're holding back, she'd say when I'd share draft posts. The vulnerability is good, but where's the edge? Where's the stuff that makes people really feel something? I don't want to be mean about Ralph. It's not mean, babe, it's honest, it's relatable. Men can handle a little ribbing, and if they can't, that's their fragility, not your problem. The other women in the chat agreed. My ex hated when I posted about him, that's why he's my ex. If he loves you, he'll support your career. You can't dim your light for someone else's comfort. It made sense. They were successful, they knew how this worked, and Ralph did love me. He said he supported my career, so why was I censoring myself? The posts got edgier. More pointed, I wrote about how he cried during emotional movie scenes. My husband teared up during a Pixar movie about talking cars. I married a man who empathizes with animated vehicles. 15,000 shares. Comments full of men are so sensitive. And mine too. Why are they like this? Ralph read it while I was in the shower. When I came out, he was sitting on the edge of the bed. Can we talk? I knew that tone. I'd been hearing it more often. Careful, measured, like he was approaching a skittish animal. Sure, the post today about the movie. It's just a joke, Ralph. I know, he rubbed his face. I know it's a joke, but do you know how many people I work with follow you? My boss follows you. His wife comments on your posts. So they saw you calling me sensitive for having emotions. They saw you making fun of me for crying. Ralph, everyone knows it's comedy. Lifestyle content is always exaggerated. It's not exaggerated, though. His voice got quiet. That's the thing, it's all true. You're just framing it like it's ridiculous that I feel things. I felt something twist in my chest, defensiveness, anger. So you want me to stop writing about my life, about us? No, I wish you'd ask me first, before you post things about me, about us. That would kill the spontaneity, the authenticity. He looked at me for a long moment. Right, can't let my feelings get in the way of your authenticity. He slept on the couch that night, said he was working late on a project. We both knew that wasn't true. I posted about that too. Pav, your husband gets in a mood about nothing and camps out on the couch to make a point. 22,000 shares. His texts got shorter after that. Okay, sure, sounds good. When I'd ask what was wrong, he'd say, nothing, I'm fine. But he'd stopped reaching for my hand when we walked, stopped initiating kisses, stopped saying, I love you out loud, just texted it like the words were safer in digital form. I told myself he was being dramatic, that he'd get over it. That this was just what happened when one person in a relationship started succeeding, the other got insecure. Ruth agreed. He's intimidated by your success. Classic fragile masculinity. I believed her. It was easier than believing I was hurting him. The breaking point came 6 months into my blog's real success. I'd hit 100,000 followers. Brands were reaching out for real partnerships, paid campaigns, ambassador programs. I'd quit my day job. This was my career now. Ralph's company was having their annual gala. Formal event at this waterfront venue downtown. Employees and their partners. His boss, Richard, would be there. Richard's wife, Susan, the whole leadership team. Ralph had been nominated for an award, Innovation in Content Strategy. He'd led a campaign that had brought in 3 major clients, the first real recognition he'd gotten in his 5 years at the company. He'd told me about it quietly, almost sheepishly. "It's not a big deal, probably won't win anyway." "Ralph, that's amazing, I'm so proud of you." He'd smiled, actual smile reaching his eyes. "Thanks, it would mean a lot if you came to the gala." "Of course I'm coming," I meant it. I did. But the week leading up to the gala was chaos. A brand deal fell through. Another brand wanted content turnaround in 48 hours. I was stressed, exhausted, running on coffee and anxiety. Ruth texted the morning of the gala, "How's the corporate wife costume coming along?" I laughed, sent back, "Ugh, wearing heels and making small talk with tech bros, the glamorous life." "Remember, you're the talent in that relationship. Don't let anyone forget it." I shouldn't have let that sit in my mind, but it did, festering. The venue was beautiful, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Willamette River, string lights, white tablecloths, ice sculptures, the kind of elegant that makes you feel like you should whisper. Ralph wore a navy suit. He looked good, nervous but good, kept adjusting his tie. "You look handsome," I said in the car. "Thanks," he glanced at me. "You look beautiful, that dress is perfect." I'd worn emerald green, his favorite color on me. I'd remembered that, at least. We walked in, his hand on my lower back, this gentle touch that used to mean everything. Now it just felt like a formality. The tables were assigned. We found ours, table 7. Richard and Susan were already seated, another couple I didn't know. Ralph's colleague Jennifer and her husband Mark. Everyone was so nice. Susan complimented my dress. Richard shook Ralph's hand with this genuine warmth. "Big night for you, buddy. That campaign you led was exceptional." Ralph's face lit up. "Thank you, the team really came through." "Don't sell yourself short," Richard said. "The emotional intelligence you brought to that client relationship, that's rare. That's what closed the deal." Susan touched my arm. "You must be so proud of him." "I am," I said, and I meant it. In that moment, watching him smile, seeing him recognized, I was proud. But then that ugly thing twisted in my chest again. The same feeling I'd been having for months, watching him get praised, watching him shine, and feeling smaller. The dinner started. Salad courses, polite conversation, wine. I drank faster than I should have. The stress of the week, the exhaustion, the feeling that I was performing rather than existing. Ralph kept glancing at me, checking in. "You okay?" "Fine," I smiled. Drank more wine. Jennifer was talking about the campaign. "Ralph, the way you handled that difficult client, the one who kept changing requirements, I learned so much from watching you navigate that." "It wasn't that impressive," Ralph said. "Just listening, trying to understand what they actually needed versus what they were asking for." "Emotional intelligence," Richard said again. "Can't teach that. You either have it or you don't. Your husband's got it in spades, Alicia." Everyone looked at me. Warm smiles, expectant faces, and I felt it bubble up. That defensive, ugly thing, the wine, the stress. The months of feeling like I was suffocating under just joking and you're too sensitive and the growing distance between us that I'd caused but couldn't admit. I laughed. Actual laughed. And said, "Emotional intelligence?" Ralph cried watching a documentary about penguins last month. Penguins, I keep telling him clients want confidence, not sensitivity. Nobody respects a man who tears up during nature documentaries. The silence that followed was physical, heavy, suffocating. Susan's wine glass stopped halfway to her mouth. Just froze there, suspended. Richard's smile died. I watched it happen in slow motion, watched his face go from warm to confused to horrified. Jennifer's eyes went wide. Her husband Mark actually flinched. The jazz music kept playing, some smooth saxophone number, oblivious to the crater I'd just created. I felt Ralph's hand leave mine under the table. Slowly, deliberately. The absence of his touch was louder than any words. I looked at him, expecting I don't know. Anger, embarrassment. His face was blank. No, not blank, empty, like someone had reached inside and scooped out everything that made him Ralph. Every soft thing, every vulnerable thing, every beautiful thing I'd spent 6 years falling in love with, gone. His eyes met mine. I'd seen those eyes look at me with love, with laughter, with desire, with trust. Now they looked through me, past me, at someone he didn't recognize. No tears, no anger, just absence. He placed his napkin on the table, folded it, precise. Calm, his hands were steady, stood up. The chair scraped against the hardwood floor, this awful final sound. He looked at Richard. "I'm sorry, I need to excuse myself." Not to me, to Richard. Then he walked away, through the tables, past the ice sculptures. Through those floor-to-ceiling windows into the parking lot, I watched his back disappear. The navy suit, the careful posture, the man I'd married walking away from me in complete silence. Richard cleared his throat. "I think, perhaps we should call it a night." Susan wouldn't look at me. Her hand was pressed to her mouth. Jennifer gathered her purse. Mark was already standing. The table emptied in less than 3 minutes. I sat there alone. The jazz kept playing. The candles kept flickering. The river kept flowing outside those beautiful windows. Everything the same and everything destroyed. I texted him. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type. "Baby, I'm so sorry. Please come back." I didn't mean it. "Ralph, please, read receipts on." No response, just those 3 dots, appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing, then nothing. He came home at 4 a.m. I heard his key in the lock. I'd been sitting on our couch for 8 hours, still in the emerald green dress. He didn't look at me, went straight to the bedroom. I heard drawers opening. The closet door, hangers sliding. I followed him. He was packing a bag, methodical, calm, folding shirts with the same precision he folded his napkin. "Ralph, please, can we talk?" He didn't answer, just kept packing. "I'm so sorry, I don't know why I said that." I was stressed and drunk and stupid. "Baby, please look at me." He zipped the bag, turned to face me. His eyes were red but dry. "You humiliated me in front of my boss, in front of colleagues I have to face every day. You took the thing I was most proud of, my ability to connect with people, to understand them, and you weaponized it. Made it sound like a flaw, a joke, something to be ashamed of." "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did." His voice was quiet, certain. "You meant every word. That wasn't the whine, that was you. That's what you actually think of me." "No, Ralph, I love you. I think you're amazing." I was just— "You've been writing about me for months, making me smaller with every post. I asked you to stop. You told me I was being too sensitive, that I needed to toughen up, that everyone jokes about their partners. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. You know what the worst part is?" He picked up his bag. "I believed you. I thought maybe I was too sensitive, too emotional, that something was wrong with me for caring that the person I love was turning me into a punchline for thousands of strangers. Nothing is wrong with you. You're perfect. I'm done, Alicia." He walked past me. Stopped at the bedroom door, didn't turn around. "I've been drowning for 6 months, trying to tell you, trying to make you see me. You just kept pushing my head underwater and calling it a joke." "Where are you going?" "My brother's." "For how long?" He turned then, looked at me one last time. "I don't know. I need to think about whether I can stay married to someone who doesn't respect me." He left. I heard his car start, heard it drive away. I stood in the doorway until sunrise. I called him many times in the first week. Every call declined. I texted novels, apologies, explanations. Promises to delete the blog, to never write about him again, to go to therapy, to do anything, all delivered. No responses. On day 8, I got one text back. "I need space. Please respect that." I didn't respect it. I couldn't. I showed up at his office. His assistant said he wasn't available. Wouldn't even call up to his desk. I called Jennifer. "Please, just tell him to talk to me." Long pause. "Alicia, I like you, but what you did, I can't be in the middle of this." She didn't return my calls after that. I reached out to his best friend, Marcus. We'd had dinner with Marcus and his girlfriend dozens of times. I'd bought them a wedding gift 6 months ago. "Marcus, please, just tell him I'm sorry, that I'll do anything." "He doesn't want to talk to you." Marcus sounded tired, sad, and honestly, "I don't think you understand what you did. You didn't just embarrass him, you broke something." "I can fix it." "No," Marcus said quietly. "You can't. Some things don't get fixed." I tried his family. Called Patricia, his mom, the woman who'd called me daughter for 6 years, straight to voicemail. 3 times, his sister Emily finally texted me, "Mom doesn't want to talk to you, none of us do. You hurt him in a way we didn't think anyone could. Please stop calling." I'd lost his family, people who'd loved me, who'd welcomed me, who'd made me part of their traditions and memories. Gone. 2 weeks after the gala, my boss at my last freelance client called. "Hey, we're going in a different direction. Your work is great, but, well, it's complicated." Later, through a mutual contact, I found out why. Richard had been a client there too, not anymore. The blog kept growing. The post about emotional intelligence, the one I'd published 2 days before the gala, setting up my comment, hit 50,000 shares. 50,000 people laughing at sensitivity, at vulnerability, at the kind of emotional depth that makes someone human. At Ralph, Ruth texted, "Girl, this is your moment. The engagement is insane. Brands are going to be all over this." I stared at those 50,000 shares, at the comments. Men are so fragile. My husband is the same way, everything is a feeling with him. I'd die if my man cried at a nature documentary. This was my success, my moment, built on destroying the best person I'd ever known. I deleted the blog that night, all of it, every post, 6 years of content, gone. Ruth called, furious. "What are you doing? Do you know what you just threw away?" "I threw it away 6 months ago," I said. "I'm just cleaning up." I haven't spoken to her since. The divorce papers arrived 3 months after the gala, delivered by a process server to my apartment, the one that used to be our apartment. I sat on our floor, and read them. Irreconcilable differences, division of assets. Ralph had already moved his things out while I was at my parents' house. Everything clean, organized, fair. Even in leaving, he was kind. I hired a lawyer. She asked if I wanted to contest anything. "No," I said. "He can have whatever he wants. The apartment is in both names. Your blog income, even though you deleted it, that counts as marital property. I don't care. Give him whatever makes this easier for him." She looked at me with pity. I hated that look. "Mrs. Chen, you're entitled to—" "I'm not entitled to anything. Sign whatever he wants." The hearing was quiet, quick. He showed up in a gray suit, looking thinner. Tired, but steady. Calm. We sat on opposite sides of the courtroom, didn't make eye contact. The judge asked standard questions. We answered. 15 minutes later, it was over. 6 years, ended in 15 minutes. He walked out without looking back. I watched him go, again. Still. That was 18 months ago. I'm 34 now, single, living in a smaller apartment across town. I do freelance copywriting, technical stuff. Boring, safe, nothing personal. I don't blog anymore, can't bring myself to. The thought of putting my life online makes my stomach turn. I have friends, surface friends, work friends who grab coffee, yoga class acquaintances who wave hello, nobody I call at 2 a.m., nobody who really knows me. I think they're afraid I'd tell them about him. I probably would. I heard through Jennifer, we're connected on LinkedIn, though we never talk, that Ralph got promoted to VP of Client Relations. The role Richard always said he'd be perfect for. The role he got 6 months after our divorce. His engagement photos showed up on my Instagram Explore page 3 months ago. I should have scrolled past. I didn't. She's beautiful. Not model beautiful. Real beautiful. Smiling at him like he hung the moon, and him looking at her the way he used to look at me. Before I taught him that vulnerability was weakness, that caring was pathetic, that the very things that made him special were things to be ashamed of. They're getting married next month. I saw the venue tag, the botanical gardens, the place we'd talked about once, early in our relationship. Someday, he'd said. Someday came. Just not with me. I don't check his social media anymore. It hurts too much, seeing him thriving. Surrounded by people who love him, living the life we should have lived. The life I torched for 50,000 shares. Sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m. and remember specific moments. The morning coffees he'd bring me. The sticky notes. The way he'd listen to me talk about my day, really listen, asking questions that showed he understood not just what I said, but what I meant. The way he'd cry during emotional movies and wasn't ashamed of it. How he'd hold me through panic attacks and never once told me to calm down. how he defended me to his family when they made offhand comments about my career choices. All the ways he loved me that I couldn't recognize as love because I was too busy seeing them as content. I found his journal when I was packing to move out of our apartment, the one he kept in college. He hadn't stopped writing. He'd just hidden it from me. I shouldn't have read it. But I did. The entry from 2 weeks before the gala, "I love her so much it physically hurts, but I don't think she loves me." Not really. I think she loves having someone to build content around, someone safe who won't leave. I've tried to talk to her about how the posts make me feel. She tells me I'm too sensitive, that everyone jokes about their partners. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am too sensitive. Or maybe I'm just married to someone who doesn't see me as a person, just a character. I don't know which is worse. The last entry, dated the night after the gala. "Tonight, in front of everyone I work with, she proved what I've been afraid to believe. I'm not her partner, I'm her punchline, and I can't do this anymore. I won't." That's when I understood, really understood. He didn't leave because of one comment. He left because I'd been killing him slowly for years. Death by 1,000 cuts, except I was holding the knife and smiling while I did it. That night at the gala wasn't when I broke him. It was when he finally admitted he was broken and chose himself over me. The worst part, he was right to. Every morning I'm reminded of what I had, what I destroyed. People ask sometimes if I've learned anything, if I do things differently, everything. I'd change everything. But that's not the real lesson. The real lesson is this: you can't love someone and diminish them. Those two things can't exist in the same space. One will always kill the other. I thought I was building a career, finding my voice, establishing my independence. I was really just teaching the kindest man I've ever known that his kindness was a weakness, that his emotional depth was something to mock, that the very qualities that made him extraordinary were liabilities. I turned his softness into a weapon and aimed it at his heart, for engagement, for shares, for strangers who didn't know him and didn't care. 50,000 people thought it was hilarious that my husband had feelings. One person, the only person who mattered, didn't survive it. The coffee goes cold on the counter, like everything else I touch. I start another day in the life I built when I chose cruelty over kindness. Viral content over the man who brought me coffee every morning for 6 years. They say you don't know what you have until it's gone. That's not true. I knew exactly what I had. I just didn't think he'd ever leave. Didn't think there was a limit to how small I could make him feel. Didn't think that patience and kindness and love had a bottom. I was wrong. Some mornings I still reach for my phone to text him, tell him about something funny that happened, ask his opinion on some small decision. Then I remember, he's not mine anymore, never will be again. He's building the life he deserves, with someone who sees his sensitivity as strength, his emotional intelligence as the gift it is, his capacity to feel deeply as something sacred, not something to mock for content. And I'm here, alone with cold coffee and the echo of 50,000 strangers laughing. I'd give anything to take it back. The posts, the comments, the years of making him feel less than, the moment at that gala when I chose a cheap laugh over his dignity. But you can't unpublish cruelty, can't undo humiliation, can't unfeel the moment someone you love looks at you and doesn't recognize you anymore. All you can do is live with it. So that's what I do. I live with what I did, what I am, what I lost. If someone loves you, really loves you, treat them like they're sacred. Because one day you might discover they are, and by then it might be too late to tell them.